Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Jeff back here on some more Cold War. So I actually saw in the comments yesterday, I was like, today is the max speed one, tomorrow is gonna have to be the slowest one. You're half right. So this sniper rifle is actually kind of unique. So I don't want to build the slowest version of it. I want to build the most powerful version of it. Basically, a ZRG 20mm that hits similarly to REQUIS. Now, I would usually be making these series where I try to make them as slow as possible, and trust, I mean, this thing can get really slow, but nothing's ever going to top that M82. The M82, I have no idea why it's that slow, but yeah. I mean, I understand that, you know, having like a spammy 50 cal sniper rifle would seem a little bit too strong if it handles really well, maybe. But at the same time, it's a little funny and silly sounding when you say a 50 caliber sniper rifle that shouldn't kill people really, really hard. So the only thing that I changed here on this class setup, I have my usual class setup, which is basically this. Yesterday, I did have a class with the stock on it. You could, you know, run the close quarters combat pad. A lot of people will say the sprint out time doesn't matter, but it's more about the handling of the weapon. It's not so much that I think that you can scope in faster or anything like that. It's all about the feel of the weapon. It's kind of the difference in the feeling of the intervention, for example, between using Ninja and using steady aim. They felt like two completely different weapons, and they even felt like they handled differently, because with steady aim, you could press into buildings more often, and your character will hold it more stiff with steady aim, and it gave a different feel when you entered buildings as opposed to when you were running Ninja. Sure, you can throw no scopes and stuff like that out there, but you're obviously going to be a lot less likely that way. So, I mean, whatever you prefer, but you could change the stock, the close quarters, you could put a muzzle on there, you can put a silencer, the sound moderator, or the stabilizer. It's got plenty of bullet velocity, so I love the sound of this thing, so I'm going to keep the stabilizer on there when we do this instead of the silencer. The suppressor, I feel like, is probably one of the best things to run on this thing, but because you really don't want people to know where you're at when you're firing. But I changed the barrel from the rapid fire barrel, which gives us 15% fire rate, to now Sigma Special, 42.7 inches. Huge barrel. Gives us damage and bullet velocity. This presses our bullet velocity to over 1,500. We have 146 damage. I have no idea if this actually increases the damage range, or at least one-shot hit zone. Seeing that you could actually kill people in the upper thighs and groin, I want to see if when you shoot somebody in the legs with this thing, if they die. This thing is already incredibly consistent with just a speed thing on there. Now, given it doesn't take a hit to its damage and we're buffing it now, but I mean, look how big this thing is, dude. Oh yeah, and I have dark matter for it now, as you can see, on Cold War. I want to see if I could specifically shoot somebody in the leg real quick. Okay, so check out the fire rate. You can get tested before this thing cocks back. I want to really try to shoot somebody in the leg. Hey, that looked pretty low and it still killed him. Like, I know when somebody gets shot by this thing, that, like, physically in real life, they recoil. Every time they get hit, it's just, it's surprising. So I think, like, our fire rate ends up dropping, like, substantially with this, but also an overall damage buff on this thing obviously isn't needed, so it really doesn't even get a buff. This is basically only a nerf, but when you get hit with it, you might feel the difference, though. People take damage IRL when they get hit with this shit. Shot him in the spine, blew his ass out of his back. I shot that dude specifically aimed towards his kneecaps and he died. Let's try even lower. Okay, well, that was through a wall. Okay, that was in the leg. I don't know if it's actually increasing the one-shot range or what, but I swear I've gone out of my way before to try to test how low I could actually shoot someone with this thing. And I don't know. I mean, I haven't gotten many hit markers. I could literally count on one hand how many hit markers I've gotten so far with this thing. Literally 3. A gunship, a harp. Okay, we're backing out. We don't need to make progress anyway. That lobby ain't going well. Our fire rate goes from 31 with that rapid fire thing on there all the way down to 22, as if it wasn't already horribly slow. I really want to go and use this thing on Warzone, honestly. I might just do that today. Who knows? I'm happy I finished this though, but I just realized I also didn't do the E-tool. Never made a video on it or anything. Like, I'm gonna spam this as hard as... Is there even a point to having 5 bullets in here? I'm pretty sure it would take me almost 20 seconds to expel my 5 rounds. Hold on. This shit literally takes over 10 seconds. The UFC that's actually on right now, the prelims are on at the moment. I mean, by the time you guys are seeing it, main card probably has already started. All right, well, yeah, people are already arguing about who's winning what fight or whatever, but yeah, so this card is actually on, the main card anyway, is on at like 3 p.m. Kevin Holland, and you guys might have actually heard Kevin Holland recently. Yeah, he literally fought a couple weeks ago. Now, he lost that fight against Derek Brunson. I thought that he was actually going to win that fight against Derek. I thought it'd be a similar fight to like what Adesanya would do to him. Basically, not allow him to take him down, be able to use his, you know, height and reach and all that shit, and then just piece him up on the feet. But Derek did really good. So he lost a fight into well, admittedly now looking at it, a pretty bad matchup, a wrestler slash boxer striker. The usual, you know, kryptonite to strikers, you know, just having somebody that probably isn't as great of a striker just take him down and beat him the fuck up down there, just bully him. So he's actually fighting Marvin Vettori, which in my opinion, I mean, might be an even harder fight than the Derek Brunson fight in my opinion. But Kevin Holland got a whole lot of flack for that fight because he was just talking and talking and talking. It's not like he took a ton of damage or anything, he just didn't win the fight. And people don't like, you know, watching somebody that is losing talk trash or whatever. People think that it just looks bad. To me, I mean, I get it, but I also recognize that a lot of people don't fuck with that. A lot of people don't like that energy. A lot of people think that, like, oh, if you're gonna go and lose, like, oh, well, if you're gonna talk trash, you better be good. The reality of it is a lot of people just don't like the trash talk in general happening to them, whether they're good or not. There's no way that I'm actually killing people with this thing. Dude, this guy jumped out of the way because he sensed his life about to end. Yeah. Marvin Vettori, like, if you look at a lot of his highlights as well, Vettori is one of the few people out there that people would argue actually gave Adesanya his hardest fight out there. Some people even think that Marvin could have won that fight. This is before Adesanya became champion and all that stuff, but the two hardest fights for Adesanya were Vettori and Gastelum. A hit marker! I must have hit him in the foot. But he had like 5 HP left. Bop! Vettori does a whole lot of wrestling and stuff as well, so I think Vettori is more formidable in the stand-up than Derek Brunson is as well. So, I mean, obviously styles make fights and just the matchups, they could be anything. Like, even if, you know, a striker loses to wrestler A and fighter B, like all that shit, it doesn't necessarily matter because once you get two different people in there, even if they are a similar skill set to another two different people, you don't know how that fight's gonna play out. So, who knows how Marvin deals with somebody that, you know, is that tall and dynamic on the feet and stuff like that. Obviously, he must know that he needs to wrestle in order to win. I could underestimate it, and maybe he can piece up Holland. I don't know. I want Kevin Holland to win this fight, not because I dislike Marvin Vettori or anything. I love the energy that that dude brings. He is arguably one of the angriest people in a sport of fucking killers. So, I mean, that deserves a title in itself. That dude is a freak. I love it. But I really don't want to see Kevin Holland lose twice in a row. I really don't. I think that he can win. A lot of people think that, oh, he's too busy talking instead of trying to fight. I think he was doing both and he just lost. You can talk shit whether you're winning or losing, regardless of how good or bad it looks. You can still do that and you can still be trying. Good thing is that I don't end up losing any ADS speed using this, so that's always nice. I can't even tell where I shot him. I just saw a name. Yeah, this guy just keeps crouching in. I don't want to keep challenging like that, man. I'm just trying to test it, not fucking get long shots. Started shooting before he even sees me. Ain't no way in hell I'm gonna get play of the game. I can't even kill, like, double kills? What are the other fights on this card? We got Arnold Allen versus Sadiq Yusuf. That'll be a good fight. Sadiq is actually a favorite here, but this Arnold guy, he's been looking kind of scary to me. Sam Alvey, Julia Marquez, Nina Ansaroff, or now Nina Nunes versus Mackenzie Dern at 115. Mike Perry, Mike Platinum versus Daniel Rodriguez. I wonder what the max bullet velocity this thing has on Warzone. I wouldn't be surprised if it's probably the highest in the game, or really close to the highest in the game if it's not. I'd be surprised if it's not highest in the game. I would love if it was the highest in the game. At least like even a better or slightly better bullet velocity than the HDR. Just every lobby I'm getting into recently is just not really friendly at all. Even for the REQUIS gun here, this thing hits like a truck, but again though, this thing doesn't need any more damage. There's no point, but that's pretty much what REQUIS is, really. It's like, all right, yeah, you got enough knockout power. Now let's double it. I mean, in terms of power, Francis Ngannou is about the closest thing we've ever seen to REQUIS, dude. I literally couldn't climb back up there. My character's falling all over himself trying to get back up. Like a literal trained fucking soldier, veteran, can't climb up a fucking fern. Surprised I'm even going positive. I can play the game with the pistols again. God damn it. Listen, clearly, I mean, it's kind of important to be able to, you know, shoot a couple times in a row, not just once. Alright, well, we got the REQUIS shot right there in the end, so that's fine. So picks if you want to lose. I think Mike Perry is going to beat Daniel Rodriguez. Mackenzie Dern beats Nina Nunes. Julia Marquez beats Sam Alvey. Arnold Allen beats Sadiq Yusuf. And I think Vettori's going to beat Kevin Holland, but I really want Kevin Holland to win. But don't ever use this barrel on this gun. It's not needed, okay? Just leave it to REQUIS.